Hello everyone, I hope you all are well and having a good day so far. Today we are making the ultimate no-knead cranberry walnut bread, a recipe I've been eager to share with you guys after teasing it on Instagram. Seriously, this bread is one of the best and coziest thing to bake during this season. When you bake it, your house is going to smell like the best bakery in town. And this bread has a very nice chewy texture. It is filled with sweet and tangy cranberries and some crunchy chopped walnuts. It is such a treat, and don't worry if it looks intimidating because the no-knead method makes it surprisingly so easy to make. Just be prepared to wait, as patience is key when it comes to rising time, but the end result is totally worth it. So before we get started on today's video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel down below, hit that thumbs up, and with all of that said, let's get to it. Now, I was buying this bread from Costco, but I was shocked at the list of ingredients they use. However, when you start making bread at home, you will find that actually you don't need a lot of ingredients to make homemade bread, and they all are very basic, which I love. So here what you need. We need some bread flour. I like to use bread flour in this recipe because it has more gluten content than all-purpose flour. This will help your bread rise taller, have a better structure, and chewy texture. If you don't have it, all-purpose flour will do, just the texture won't be the same. But you can try it, I've done it before. Now for salt, I like to use coarse sea salt. I find it has more flavor than table salt. And you can use instant yeast or active dry yeast. I highly recommend you use active dry yeast. Since we need to bloom it in water, you will know immediately if your yeast is good or bad. And to add a nutty flavor and some crunch, we're going to add some chopped walnuts. You can feel free to add pecans, almonds, pistachios, whichever you prefer. And if you want to make it nut-free, you can leave it all out and your bread will still taste delicious. And we need some dried cranberries. I love the tart sweetness and the chewy texture they add to the bread. They're like nature's candy. But you can also use raisins, apricot, dates, whatever you like. And we need some honey to add a little touch of sweetness, and this will also enhance the flavor of the cranberries. And we need some sugar and water to activate the yeast. And lastly, you need 5 to 6 quart Dutch oven. This helps trap steam from the dough, and that's what creates that beautiful crispy crust that we all love. But any oven-safe heavy-duty pot with lid will work. Alright guys, now have your water slightly warm. You want it to be about 95 degrees Fahrenheit because we are encouraging a nice slow rise to build the flavor. And in my water, I'm going to dissolve my sugar and honey. And now I'm going to sprinkle my yeast on top. We don't need a lot of yeast, just about half a teaspoon because the long rise time. And now I'm just going to let it sit for 4 to 5 minutes or until it foams up. While that happens, we can work on our dry ingredients. So in my large bowl, I can't stop giggling when I say a large bowl because baking brings so many memories of my mom and grandmas when they used to bake. My grandma's ancient mixing bowl was enormous, the kind that could easily serve as a kiddie bowl for 2 toddlers. So when I say a large bowl, I'm sure if my grandma's watching right now, she'll be just laughing and saying, isn't that adorable? Anyways, we're going to add my flour to my bowl, 2 teaspoons of salt, the walnuts and the cranberries, and just toss everything together thoroughly. If your yeast mixture doesn't look like this, discard it and start over. That means your yeast is expired or not active. But mine looks good, so now I'm going to add my honey and yeast mixture to my dry ingredients. Mix everything to combine and make sure no pockets of flour left behind. And don't worry about the dough being too sticky. That's completely normal. Don't be tempted to add more flour because that will give you a very dense bread at the end. And since this dough does not require any kneading, don't worry about its appearance at this stage. Just make sure everything is well combined. And now I'm going to cover it up and let it sit to rest and rise for about 12 to 18 hours. And yes, I did say 18 hours, but this is the part where you get to be lazy. Just leave the dough on your countertop and forget about it until the next day. It is like magic, minus the wand and hat. But the best part, this is slow rise is what gives this bread its ridiculously delicious flavor and texture. So I prepared this dough last night, and as you can see, it's risen beautifully. It's about doubled in size, and it has some lovely air bubbles on top, which is perfect. So now I'm going to transfer the dough to a floured surface and shape it into a ball. I know what you're thinking, why is it super sticky? Well, let me tell you, that's completely normal. In fact, it is exactly what you want to have a perfect loaf of bread. This wet dough is what creates that steam we talked about inside the Dutch oven, and that what gives you the nice crispy crust. So I'm going to gently fold the dough over from the edges to the center to form a round shape. This will help the loaf bake evenly. Now I'm going to place it on a floured parchment paper and use a sharp knife to score an X on top or any pattern you'd like. And I like to dust the top with flour to create that gorgeous bakery style appearance that everyone loves. Now place the dough in a bowl, cover it loosely with a plastic wrap, and let it rest for 30 minutes. In this time, you can start preheating your oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. And because preheating your pot before baking will help create a crispy and golden brown crust, you're going to place your Dutch oven with the lid on in the cold oven and let it heat up with the oven for at least 30 minutes before baking your bread. After 30 minutes, remove the hot Dutch oven and transfer the dough into the pot as carefully as possible. You can trim the parchment paper if you need to. And now cover it with the lid and return it to the oven. Bake it at 475 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes, and then remove the lid and continue baking for another 8 to 10 minutes or until it is golden brown. Now the real challenge is to resist cutting into this gorgeous loaf of bread before it has completely cooled down. I know, much like resisting the temptation to devour the entire thing by yourself. But seriously, cutting into this warm bread right now can result in a gummy, rubbery texture, which is undesirable. So fortunately, I got another loaf that I allowed to cool down completely, and now we can slice into it and try it. This bread is ridiculously delicious. I am obsessed with every aspect of it. The flavor explosion in each bite is just insane. You need to try it. And what I love most about this bread is that we use basic ingredients, and it was very easy to make, requiring hardly any hands-on time. And the textures are perfect. It's crispy on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside, and it is loaded with the cranberries and walnut. It is just so delicious. You can enjoy it for breakfast, toasted with butter, or you can serve it on your charcuterie board with a soft cheese for the holidays. And don't worry about leftover, because you can just cover it and store it at room temperature for a week, or you can also freeze it for like 3 to 4 months. To freeze it, I usually like to wrap it in aluminum foil, stick it in a Ziploc bag, and just pop it into the freezer. Right now I have 2 of them in my freezer, and that just makes me so happy. But that's all I got for you guys today. I really hope that you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please thumbs it up, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!